5.
Yes.
4.
Yes.
3.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here with Leeron.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how's it going?
Wonderful.
So back to the topic of self-employment. What are some specific decisions or mistakes that people make when preparing their financials?
Yeah, good question. There's a common misperception, it seems, from the people I've consulted with, that, well, there's two things. One, people aren't really aware of what type of business they own. So they're not sure if it's an LLC, if it's a corporation, if it's an S-type or C-type. They either have a bookkeeper do it. In my experience, a lot of the time, well, my bookkeeper, they take care of all of that, and I just kind of tell them when I need a check. So the most important thing is, you got to identify what type of business entity you own, and you should really understand the implications of each. So, are you filing a K-1 or not? Are you receiving a salary or not? So those are really important things to know. But I would definitely say that there's this perception that, and this exists among self-employed as well as W-2, it's just, you see it in greater variance with self-employed, that they got to show a really tough picture. Like they're losing money every single month and they don't have anything to live on. And oftentimes they paint a picture that I feel is just too desperate.
And the picture's for who?
For the lender.
Okay.
Yeah, for the lender. So the lender's saying, what are you earning per month? And then the person's saying, I'm earning nothing. My business is doing terribly and I make nothing. And they'll present financials to the lender that show a massive shortage each month in their income versus their expenses.
Okay. And this is during the process of applying for a loan modification?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So continue.
Yeah,
Sorry
sure.
to interrupt.
No, please. I appreciate it. So letting, in that formulating the financials, that's oftentimes something we see. Another thing that we see is really an inability to understand or to really decide on what are business expenses and what are personal expenses. So it seems that at some level commingling goes on in almost every circumstance, and really minimizing that is something that's extremely helpful. So really letting your lender know, this is the money I live on. It's all on this side of the column. It's all black and white, versus this is the money that my business affords for running the business. And really being careful with that, so that if you do choose to work with a professional, you're giving them that range of going, this is really what's going on. And now a professional can say, well, I'd recommend that you allocate a little bit more funds from your business to cover some of these expenses that you're currently covering as personal. And I'm, making sure that you're getting the acknowledgement that they are in fact used for business. But for instance, somebody might say, well, I don't choose to take any deductions for mileage, ever. Well, you're entitled to, and if it's going to help your situation, it might be a good idea to have your business account for some of those costs of travel, and then, whereas they may be otherwise accounted for personally, if it presents a stronger picture to your lender and it creates a circumstance that's more appealing to your lender for modification.
Okay.
So those are some of the things I would say first and foremost. So to recap would be, one, know the type of business entity you own and understand how you're paid.
It seems so important.
It does, and it seems, it is not, I'm genuinely not trying to patronize people. I can, speaking from personal experience, the last company that I had ownership in, we had a bookkeeper who, ran all the books and paid the taxes and paid the payroll taxes, and I really didn't do a good job paying attention to it, and it ended up with a civil penalty for payroll tax that I assumed had been paid, but it was kind of two people pointing their fingers at one another saying, well, I thought you did it. Well, I thought you did it. Well, didn't the bookkeeper do it? No, and it, it resulted, my lack of knowledge resulted in a $10,000 lesson of, penalties that I had to work out with the IRS. And so, and I considered myself a consummate business professional, in every regard. I hired somebody more aware than I was of how to run that. And yet, I really didn't take the time to even get fundamentally educated on what are you doing for me and what liabilities are you actually curbing out of my life. And I learned, and now my counsel to others is, get those things figured out. Are you an LLC? Are you a sole proprietor? Are you a C-type or S-type corporation? How are you paid when you get these checks? Are these draws? Are these salaries? Are these commissions you're paid? Are these loans from the company to you? Are they on your K-1? you got to know some of this stuff. And then secondarily, paint a realistic picture. Bring the real story to your professional or to your lender. Don't show them an overly desperate circumstance. Bring the real story. And then be sure that you're aware of what are the most ideal ways to position those financials. And generally, you need to get assistance with that. But as we talked about earlier in the program, those minute differences, $100 or $200 here or there, can make a tremendous difference in the outcome of your modification.
Oh, for sure. We have to wrap up.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us.
Yes.
And thank you for watching My Moment.